After you've had a chance to look at the piece, "O Come Little Children," in order to figure out which notes you need to know and which rhythms you're going to have to play, it's time to work on some skills that'll help you to play the piece. In this practice video, the first skill that you're going to work on is playing an open E followed by a C sharp, which is second finger on the A string. The second skill you'll work on is playing a D, third finger on the A string, followed by a B, first finger on the A string. The third skill you'll work on is playing a C sharp, second finger on the A, followed by an F sharp, first finger on the E. The fourth skill you'll practice is the bowing that's written in this piece, as well as using your bow to play the different rhythms. So now get ready to review how to hold the violin, how to set up your left hand, how to set up your bow hold, as well as warming up with an A major scale.
Make sure you're holding your violin properly. Find the end button, put it up against your neck and over your shoulder, and then hug your violin with your shoulder and your chin. Stand up nice and tall. Set up your left hand properly. Hold the neck of the violin between the knuckle above the base of your first finger and the pad of your thumb. Tap, tap, tap the pad of your thumb and hover your fingers over the strings and over their tapes. Your wrist should have no bends. Set up your bow hold. Put the tip of your thumb up against the stick next to the frog and bend your thumb knuckle, and then match up the lines of the middle and ring finger on the other side of the stick. Put your other two fingers into place. The first finger should be touching the stick in between your two knuckles, and your pinky should be curved and on top as you slowly rotate the hair down onto the string.
We're going to practice the A major scale first by looking at the string finger chart. So as we play the scale, follow the laser pointer from note to note and notice the intervals in between each note. Whole steps are not touching, half steps are touching. So I am going to turn on the metronome. You're hearing quarter notes, and I am going to play half notes. That's 2 clicks per note. Get your violin set up, get your left hand set up, hover your fingers over the strings and over their tapes. Make sure your fingers are going to land on the tapes when they go down onto the fingerboard. Set up your bow hold and rotate the bow down onto the A string. Your pinky should be engaged, curved, and on top of the stick. 1, 2, ready, play. Now that you've reviewed how to set up your violin properly, how to set up your left hand in your bow hold, and now that you've also warmed up with a scale, it's time to practice the skills that you need in order to play this piece. So in this practice module, you're going to see a video of the skill that you're working on so that you have a chance to see what the fingers look like, what the bow distribution looks like. And then you're going to have a chance to practice the skill while you look at the notation on the staff. And it's important throughout this practice video that you remember that you can always pause, rewind, and review any segment that you're working on. And in fact, I encourage you to do this as often as possible so that you have a chance to practice the skill until you feel completely comfortable with it. So have fun with this. Okay, we're going to practice playing open E to second finger on the A string, which plays C sharp. And the strategy is to put your second finger down on the A string even while you play the open E, so it's already there when you need to play it. Now during this exercise, we're going to play a note and then change strings with your bow during the rest. Your fingers should already be there. And I'm going to turn on the metronome. We're hearing quarter notes to keep us consistent. So we play a note, we rest. Play, rest. Get your bow on the string. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, now get ready to watch the video of the next skill that we need to learn to play lightly row. We're going to practice playing a D, third finger on the A string, followed by a B, first finger on the A string. And the strategy here is to have your first finger down while you're playing the D so that it's ready when you need it. So to set up for this, set up your violin, set up your left hand, set up your bow hold, find your third finger on the tape on the A string and put your first finger on the tape on the A string as well. And we're going to take our third finger off and put our third finger down in the rests in the first part of this practice segment. So rotate your bow down onto the string. I'm going to turn the metronome on and you're going to be hearing you're going to be hearing quarter notes. So 1, 2, ready, play. Take your finger off. Put your finger down. Finger off. Finger down. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. So go ahead and pause, rewind, practice this as many times as you need until you feel completely comfortable doing it. The next skill we're going to practice is playing C sharp, which is second finger on the A string, followed by an F sharp, first finger on the E string. And the strategy when you play this is to have your first finger ready on the F sharp while you're playing the C sharp. So go ahead and try that before we start to play. Put your second finger on the C sharp on the tape on the A string, and your first finger is on the F sharp, first finger on the tape on the E string. So I'm going to turn my metronome on. Make sure your violin is set up properly. Make sure your left hand is set up properly. Tap, tap, tap your thumb. Set up your bow hold. Rotate your bow down onto the string, onto the lower tape. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest 2, rest 2, okay, make sure you pause and rewind and practice this several times. Now we're going to practice playing the bowing that's written for this piece. And we're going to practice using our bow to play the rhythm. And we've done that before. We use one section of our bow to play each eighth note, and two sections of the bow plays the quarter notes. So this piece starts on an up bow. And so we need to put our bow on the string at the middle tape. And then we're going to move our hand up toward the ceiling to play that up bow. And then the next quarter note is a down bow, so we move our hand down towards the ground to play that down bow. And then the bowing is just as it comes until the very last measure. We end on an up bow for that first quarter note, and then there's an eighth rest. And during that eighth rest, we have to reset our bow back to the middle tape for that final eighth note. And then we're going to repeat immediately back to that quarter note down bow. And if you look at your music, you'll see that each line of the piece ends with this up bow quarter note followed by an eighth rest followed by the eighth note up bow. So for this practice segment, I'm going to play the repeat one time. So we're going to play the whole line twice through. When we come to the end of the line the first time, we go back to the mirror image repeat mark. And then we play it through to the end. So I'm going to turn on my metronome, and we're going to hear, not quarter notes. We're going to hear eighth notes. So each click is an eighth note. That means our quarter notes are going to be 2 clicks. So I'm going to count us in. Get your violin ready. Get your bow hand ready. Rotate your bow down onto the middle tape on the E string. 1 and 2. Up bow, reset. Up bow, reset. Okay. Make sure you pause and rewind and practice this several more times.